Oh, and I thought I'd give an update on the Wi-Fi pumpkin. Hopefully you can see that okay. This is a little wireless man in the middle device. It's using the Wi-Fi Pumpkin 3 framework. So if you Google pumpkin pie, Wi-Fi pumpkin pie, you'll probably see the older variant that someone built where they put the old framework of Wi-Fi pumpkin onto a Raspberry Pi. I haven't seen anyone do this with the new framework, so I thought, fuck it, let's do that. And as you may have seen in the other video, I'm doing this on a Pi Zero, little e-ink display, just for style, because, well, I think the logo that I put together doesn't look too bad. So I thought I'd give an update on it. I think I've got the software more or less where I want it. Ideally, I did want this to start automatically. You know, you power it on and it just spins up Wi-Fi Pumpkin and it's away. It doesn't seem to like running without having a open shell that you can interact with and run commands onto it. It seems to really not like it. I have got it now that it runs and it will start and the wireless access point appears, but you can't access it. I think it's something, it's not handing out IP addresses, so there's some service that isn't starting. I think I'll be able to get that fixed, and I will be able to get that fixed at some point. But at the minute, I think the software's good enough. It's running, it's working, and I can log into it and configure it and do all that stuff. So I think it's in a good enough state that I'm going to now carry on and get the hardware side of things sorted. So for anyone who doesn't know, I've been using this Alifa um, wireless card because it can go into monitoring mode. So that's what's being used as the actual access point, quote unquote, um, for the device. Ideally, I think an upgrade will be to add another one of these because I'm thinking what I'll have is instead of having Wi-Fi Pumpkin start on startup, have this make an access point using the inbuilt Wi-Fi that the Raspberry Pi has. I don't know whether it can go in a monitoring mode. That may be an issue, but I'm hoping that it can, or at least that I can fudge it to, because it doesn't need to be. It just needs to give me access into the Pi so that I can, run shell commands and stuff. And then have the two Altifa, whatever you call them, um, cards running the actual wireless stuff, so that way it's not relying on. At the minute, it's all coming into the Alifa access point, or wireless card, and then it's going out the Raspberry Pi's own wireless, which is, I mean, it's not built for that really. So it is a bit sluggish in sometimes, but I mean, it can run YouTube stuff like that. I was running it with one person at the very least, seems fine. So that'll be an upgrade to have two of them. I don't know how well it'll work because obviously I've only got one USB port to run them out of, but I think it'll be fine for what it's doing. So the next step, I'm waiting on a chip, a little circuit board arriving because I'm going to be using this 2 amp hour lithium cell, and I've got charge controllers on the way for that. I thought I had some. I was convinced I had some. I don't know where they've went. I'd bought a bag of them because I use these types of cells in all of my shit, because they're just so handy, and I like being able to charge them in there without having to take the battery out and charge it, and swap it, and stuff like that. Just plug a micro USB in and away you go. So they should be arriving today. Hopefully I'll be able to get them started and then putting it into a case. Ideally 3D printed, but don't have access to a 3D printer at the moment. I used to, I miss it. So I'm thinking this is just a case that it's an antenna tuner for radio things came in, and I think this will fit everything relatively nicely. And I can drill a hole for the antenna. I can have that coming out the side. Um, Drill a hole for USB to plug in the charger and just hot glue shit into here. I'm going to hot glue in everything apart from probably the battery and the Raspberry Pi, just because, well, I might want to use this for something else. So what I'm thinking, I've got little extenders for the little screws that are holding the case together. I'm thinking just screw 4 holes and just bolt it in there with those little nylon washers or nylon nuts and bolts. I think that should be fine. Might be a bit tight squeeze for the Alifa thing, just because the case in this is quite bulky. So I'm thinking I'll probably pop it out of the case and just have the bare board in there, rather than having the plastic in there, because it'll be enclosed anyway, so it won't matter too much. So yeah, that's where that one's at. It's not going to get on hold. I'm going to get it finished up as soon as I get the charge controller in. I'll get it finished up, and then we'll be good to go, and then I'll just be tweaking software and stuff like that, which is fine. Once the hardware's sorted, we're laughing. I'm happy that it will work, so I'm happy to get the hardware done, and then I can tweak more of the software later on. The next thing I'm going to be doing is the one that I talked about before. This is the little RFID read writer. Basically making a device that would sit over a card reader and swipe it and capture all those cards. I'm going to be working on that because I'm going to be giving a talk second Friday of August, and I want to have it there because I want to have it for the talk. So I'll be working on it next. It should be dead simple. It should be a piece of piss to make. Making the enclosure is probably going to be the hardest part of that one. Again, 3D printer will be handy, but I might go on a scrounging mission, see if anyone will print it for me. We'll see. So yeah, that's just a quick update on where I'm at with the Wi-Fi pumpkin. I do have a GitHub page up for this showing all the stuff I did to set up, because the Wi-Fi pumpkin framework, it did take a little bit of fiddling to get this to run on the Zero. It wasn't too hard. So I'm putting up on the GitHub page sort of the steps that I went through to get this running. I'm not going to put up the captive portal I'm using, am I? No, I'm not, because the captive portal I'm going to use for this, for the research, the whole reason that this was made, is good. It's a very good one, and I don't want someone being able to copy that easily, necessarily. That's even if I use this, I may just be lazy and use the pineapple, because that's all preloaded. That's actually ready to go. I just wanted to see if I can make something for a bit cheaper that will do the same job, and yeah, it works. So I'll do a longer video talking through this once it's actually built and in and made, talk through the software, and I'll probably try and do a time lapse of actually running it out in the wild. So yeah, I did think something I may do, we'll see, is actually see how long this will run on solar power. I've got a couple of solar panels, and the small-ish ones about that size, and it is really sunny at the minute, and I'm wondering, could that run this indefinitely? According to AliExpress, the solar panel is like 1 kilowatt. Bollocks it is. It's like probably like 1 watt, for fuck's sake. But yeah, we'll see. So I am thinking that could maybe be a method. I'm going to see. It depends. The charge controllers. If the charge controller can take 12 volts in and give 5 volts out, if it's able to manage that, then I'll do it, no hesitation, because it'll just be a matter of clipping the solar panel onto it. If I need to put a converter in, I don't think I have one that'll take 12 down to 5 volts. I don't think so. I probably have the components to build something, but it's whether I can be asked. But yeah, if the charge controller can take that, yeah, going to run this on wireless and Wi-Fi and see how long. It'll die during the night because the it can draw, when it's going full tilt, about 0.5 amp, so it'll only run for 2 hours actually on battery power. So we'll have to see. But that's the update. I'll see you later.